and this guy starts moving a rock behind me. He decided that he would like this rock as garden art in our new garden space here right behind me. So he's using some pipes to roll it across the lawn. Hi, it's Steph, and today I'm going to show you how I stretch my gardening budget by showing you something I'm going to do with these 2 new perennials that I just purchased. What I'm going to show you today is dividing perennials right out of their nursery cans. While the concept of dividing perennials is not earth-shattering, and I'm sure most of you are familiar with it, I don't think most people think about dividing your plants as soon as you buy them. This is something I've done in my garden for a really long time to stretch my gardening budget and to get multiple plants out of just one. In general, the rule of thumb with dividing perennials is that after they've been planted for about 3 years, they've now been established enough and gotten large enough where you can dig them up, divide them, and get multiple plants out of just one. The thing with plants that you're buying at nurseries or garden centers is that they have been growing in their containers for a few seasons by the time that you purchase them, which is how they get this size. So for that reason, in many cases, they are root bound and screaming to get out of that nursery container and plant it in the ground somewhere. So why not use that as an opportunity to divide the plant right off the beginning before you plant it and get multiple plants from just one? So I am going to do that today with these 2 new plants that I just picked up, a dark side of the moon Stillbe and a hamlin grass. Actually, this isn't a hamlin. This is a little bunny, which is a new variety of fountain grass that I want to try out in my garden. So my plan is to actually go ahead and try to get 2 out of this dark side of the moon Stillbe. And once I take this clump of grass out of this container, I will kind of assess it and determine how many I can get out of it. So let's go ahead and divide some perennials and stretch our gardening budget. Earlier this season, I had purchased a dark side of the moon Stillbe by Proven Winners when I had done one of my garden center tours over at Lowe's. And I wanted to try it out and see how I liked it before I added more. But the more I look at it, I really do like this dark foliage. So I picked up another one, and I am planning on doing a drift of 3. So I have one there, and I'm going to plant another 2 in this area here, surrounding this standard golden mugo pine. When you're planning on dividing perennials, the first thing you want to do before you even dig up and start dividing is knowing where you're going to put your transplants. So I went ahead and decided where I would put the 2 divisions of this Stillbe, and I dug my holes. So now once I divide my Stillbe, I already have the hole made, which will lessen any kind of transplant shock because I can divide them and get them planted right away. So I'm going to go ahead and work on dividing this plant and see where I can make a clear cut. So a lot of times, just by inspecting your root ball, you can kind of take a look in between the stems of the plant and see if there's any place that you can make a clean cut. So in this case, I'm just kind of looking around and I can sort of see that right in the middle, whether I go this way or this way, I can make a division. You are always going to lose a few plant stems, and that is completely normal. You just want to get a good amount of root ball with each section that you divide. And try to be as gentle as possible about it. I'm going to use my Hori Hori. You can use any kind of garden knife, and it just slices through the root ball nice and easily. You can also use a shovel. Now we have 2 divisions.
Whenever I plant any divisions or transplants, I like to add some startup fertilizer to my planting hole. I really like the Espoma Biotone, but you can use any type. And I feel like it just gives the transplant a nice head start and gets the root development going. It's also recommended that anytime you plant anything that you use some of the native soil mixed with some compost. So I did go ahead and do that. I dug up some of the soil from this planting hole, I mixed it with some good compost, and as I was adding soil to my planting hole, I would make sure to pack it in nice and tight around the root ball to ensure that there were no air pockets. And as I was doing this process, I did make sure to water as I went along as well. The most important thing is going to be to keep these transplants nice and watered while they start establishing in their new location. It's also best to plant when the temperature is either overcast or a little bit cooler, so in the evenings or early morning if possible.
So I'm over here planting, and this guy starts moving a rock behind me. He decided that he would like this rock as garden art in our new garden space here right behind me. So he's using some pipes to roll it across the lawn. It's getting the job done though.
It's not easy, but it's much easier than trying to drag it.
True. Good job. George's goal is to get this rock all the way down this path. And he's going to place it in that area there where we have that green pot. So that tree is not going to get planted there. Instead, we're going to put a rock as garden art. I'm all done planting my 2 divisions of the dark side of the moon as Stillbe. So with the 2 that I've just planted from that one container, and with the one that I planted earlier this season, I now have a group of 3 here. Persistence paid off. He got his rock where he wanted it. Next up is this dwarf fountain grass. I currently have a variety in my garden called Hamlin, and it gets to be about 24 inches tall by 24 inches wide. And I just recently purchased this one at the Home Depot, and it's a little bit smaller than the Hamlin. This one is called Perennial Dwarf Fountain Grass Little Bunny, and the Little Bunny says that it gets to be 10 to 12 inches in height and needs 10 to 12 inches in width. It is currently a little bit taller than 12 inches, and I'm guessing that's because of these blooms or these panicles that it's sent up. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this one divided and see how many divisions I can get out of it. Currently, I'm thinking at least 2, and I've already dug 2 holes here in the front of this bed where I want to place them.
I shot it and now it's somewhere over here.
I misplaced my hori earlier, so now I have to go back to using this big old saw. But here we go. As I was dividing this grass, it looked like I could only safely get 2 divisions out of it. So that's what I did. I went ahead and sawed it right in the middle. And now I'm going to go ahead and plant them in the holes that we prepped. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. And here is the Little Bunny dwarf fountain grass all planted up. So of the 2 divisions, I placed one here near my sedums. And I have the other one on the other side, also between a group of sedums. And I think this will be a nice addition along with the sedum for a little bit of a late summer, early fall combo and color in the front of this bed here. Now the bed does bump out in the center here, so I thought that putting one on each side would make it look pretty even. In general, I do like to have groupings of things. It looks better aesthetically if you plant in odd numbers, like groups of 1, 3, 5, 7, and so forth. But having 2 in this position here works because the groupings of plants are even on both sides. Anytime that you divide and transplant perennials, it is possible that they will go through a little bit of transplant shock, and that is completely normal. What you want to do is just to make sure to keep your transplants watered, and within a couple of weeks they should rebound and do just fine. Well, as you can see, I purchased 2 perennials and I was able to plant 4 new perennials into my garden by dividing them. So I hope that next time that you go shopping for perennials, you look at them and see if there's a way that you can divide them into multiples. It's a great way to stretch your gardening budget. Now, if you are a person who likes to have instant impact, this method may not work for you, but otherwise, give it a shot. So today I got some things planted and we got a new piece of decor for our new garden. It serves as a great seat. So thank you for spending your time with us, and I will catch you in the next one.
Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button, and please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.